Hi vinyl community, it's Mike here, and today I'm going to tell you about my record store day 2026. So I ended up with four albums and something special, which I'll show you right at the very end. And you know, I'll go through the day for you. So I arrived at the queue at about 20 to 11, and quite honestly, the queue was a bit longer than I expected it to be. And I arrived about the same time of day last year, and I'm sure the queue was quite a bit shorter, but it didn't matter. And I got talking to a young lady who was just ahead of me in the queue, and she'd been going since the early hours of the morning. She'd previously been to a record store up in Headingley, Leeds. That's just out of the city centre in North Leeds, and the shop's called the Vinyl Whistle, and it's a tiny little shop, and it's been there about 5 years now, I think. And it's quite an interesting shop. They sell both sort of new and used vinyl, and I don't think they've been participating in Record Store Day for all that long. But anyway, she went up there and she'd got a couple of records already, and she was hoping to get the rest on her list from Jumbo, and failing that, she was going to go over to Crash Records afterwards. So she said to me that she might look like a Taylor Swift fan, and I must say she did look like a Taylor Swift fan, but that wasn't her thing at all. So she showed me what she bought already, and it was a Sisters of Mercy album, which was really nice, and also the Chemical Brothers. And she was looking for a few other things. She was possibly going to buy the Muse 12-inch, but she was particularly looking for the XML Deutschland BBC sessions. So anyway, we were chatting for a while, and then I finally got into the shop around about midday-ish, and I got four records, and it was the four records that I was looking for. In fact, I was looking for five, but one of them, the fifth one, hadn't actually arrived in the shop, so I couldn't buy that anyway. So I might go back for that sometime. I haven't decided yet. But anyway, I'll show you what I actually did buy. And this one is an album that I've been looking for quite some time. And there you go. It's called The Gentle Fields of Foreverland. And it's by The Gentle Waves. And if you don't know, The Gentle Waves was a solo project of Isabel Campbell. And Isabel Campbell was the singer for Belle and Sebastian in the early days. And she produced two albums under the moniker The Gentle Waves, and then after that her solo albums have all been under her own name. So this was released in 1999, and it's an absolutely superb album. I'll show you the other one, the second and final album by The Gentle Waves, and it's is this one, Swan Song for You, and this is a lovely album as well. So anyway, back to what I bought on Record Store Day. So here we go. So the Green Fields of Foreverland by The Gentle Waves, and they are. You can see the track list in there. And Isabella's got this sort of quite a sort of folky voice, but she also has that sort of pop sensibility. Very much sort of the Belle and Sebastian sort of poppy sort of vibe to it. So it's the kind of mixture of the two, a bit folky, a bit sort of poppy, and it's really nice. She's got a lovely voice. So the first two tracks on side one are absolutely superb. They're both quite folky songs, Hangman in the Shadow and An Even Song. And, they kind of set the scene, I think, for the album altogether. And also, I suppose, it sets the scene for a solo career, and I don't think she's done a bad album, quite honestly. So you've got Renew and Restore, Emmanuel Skating on Thin Ice, Rose I Love You, and then Enchanted Place, which is another fantastic track on this. Then side two, you've got Tree Lullaby, Dirty Snow for the Broken Ground, Weather Show, A Chapter in the Life of Mathieu, and To Salt a Scar. And there you go, that's the inner, and as you can see there's lyrics and details are in the middle there. So that was the first one I bought, and as I say, I was really pleased to get that. The second album I bought, and I've got a real sort of soft spot for this sort of music, and there you go. And this is Vi Velasco and with Zoot Sims and his orchestra. And Zoot Sims is a fantastic saxophone player. And as you can see, it's called a cantando bossa nova, and it's called, which means singing the bossa nova. And that's exactly what she does. She sings the bossa nova. And the album was released in 1962, and it was her debut album. And in some sort of like biographies, it says that she was born in the Philippines, and in others, it says she was born in San Diego. But whatever the truth is, she spent most of her life in the United States, and she appeared in a number of Broadway musicals. And this album sort of really sort of like illustrates her sort of musical theatre sort of background, I suppose. So you've got it starts off with the Gershwin, George and Ira Gershwin's I Got Rhythm. And then later on you've got Cheek to Cheek, the Irving Berlin tune. Written for Frank Sinatra, written for Fred Astaire for the musical Top Hat, I think, that he starred in with Ginger Rogers, of course. But it's an absolutely lovely album. I love this sort of thing. If you like the Gilberto Getz album, I think you'd probably like this as well. It's got those same sort of vibes to it, and it's just sort of old school songs sung in the bossa nova style, and I absolutely love it. And I knew this one wouldn't sell out because it's quite niche, really, isn't it? So that was the second one. Third one, an album that I didn't know, and I'd listened to it extensively online before I went and purchased it. And it's a reggae album, and it's by this guy, Hugh Mundell, and it's called Arise. And it's his final album. I think he released about 6 or 7 albums in his very short life. And he was also sort of recorded, I think, under the name Jar Levy. And he was spotted in he was spotted in Joe Gibbs' studio by Augustus Pablo, and Augustus Pablo then became his mentor. And they produced quite a few sort of albums. There's some Black Art stuff in here as well. But this album, this was recorded in 1983. When Hugh Mundell was 21 years old. And shortly after the recording session for this album, he was very, very sadly shot dead when he was sitting in his car. And surprisingly, the person that killed him was only convicted of manslaughter. And I really, I really don't know why that could happen. If you shoot someone dead in their car, it's murder, isn't it? Surely. But anyway, that was the thing. So this album, as I say, it was recorded shortly before his death in 1983 at the age of 21, and it wasn't actually released until 1988. And it's just a really, really lovely sort of early 80s reggae album. And there you say. Arise and Shine is fantastic. In fact, all the tunes on here are absolutely brilliant. So, I was really pleased to get that. There are quite a few reggae titles on the Record Store Day list in the UK this year, and there's one or two others that I was sort of thinking about, but I thought, no, I'm not going to go wild. I just buy 3 or 4 or 5 albums, and that would be that. Now, the last album that I bought was something. If you've seen my channel before, you know that I like Pill Sessions LPs, and this is one of these first time on vinyl things. So it'll be available again, won't it, sometime fairly soon. Stiff Little Fingers, Pill Sessions, 78. So previously only released on CD, and it's two Stiff Little Fingers sessions. The first one was transmitted in 1978. In fact, they're both 1978. So it's 13th of April 1978 for the first one, and 12th of September 1978 for the second one. So the first session, there were 6 tracks. You got Wasted Life, You got Johnny Was, but it's quite a sort of truncated version of that song. It's only about sort of 3 minutes, I think. Then you got Alternative Ulster, State of Emergency, White Noise, and then No More of That. So, 6 absolutely brilliant Stiff Little Fingers tracks here. And then for the September 78 session, you got Johnny Was again, but this time it's a longer version. I mean, obviously not the full 17 minutes or whatever it is of the album version. I don't think it's quite 17 minutes long, but it's a pretty long track. But it's still, it runs to about 6 minutes, I think, and I think that's a better version on this album. Then you got Law and Order, Barbed Wire Love, and then the absolutely brilliant Suspect Device. So there you go. So that's what I ended up with, vinyl wise, at Jumbo Records this year, and I was really pleased with what I got. And to say, there's 2 other records I would have bought anyway. I would have bought the Stiff Little Fingers. I would have bought the Gentle Waves, and the other 2 I'm really pleased that I have bought them. But in the corner of Jumbo Records this year, and in fact same as last year, there was a bar, and the bar was provided by a Leeds brewery called Horsforth Brewery, and this year they had brewed a pale ale especially for Jumbo Records. So I had a pint of draft pale ale while I was in the store, sort of talking to various people, and then I bought a couple of cans home with me. So as you can see, it's called Jumbo 71, and it's got a bit of blurb on here. It says, "Hopping since 71. The elephant in the room is that we wouldn't be here today without our friends. This record store day, we're saying cheers to all our customers and friends with a celebratory beer." So there you go. So I think, once I've drunk this, I'll be keeping one of the cans, I think, for posterity. So there you go. So we've got the Jumbo Records sort of label at the bottom there, and then the Horsforth Brewery logo at the top. So I got some lovely beer. And I had a lovely morning. I was out and about for about sort of 3 or 4 hours in the end, and thoroughly enjoyed it as I do. But I managed to avoid the substandard live albums that you always get at record store days. So that was a relief. And so I hope you enjoyed that, and leave a comment if you did. Leave a comment if you didn't. I don't care. And so until next time, I'll see you. So see you then. Bye bye.